thought process has changed since they started to see the Bible in this light. And so what we wanted to do was come together and kind of give a short presentation about why we believe and why we do the things that we do is because what we believe the Bible is saying. We are Bible heavy, so I hope we don't read you to death, but what we want to do is let you see what we see in the Bible versus us telling you this is what I believe. This is what the Bible says. This is why I believe it. It's because that's what the Bible says. This is Daniel Yehuda, and Derek. They are the Morays. I'm the old guy in the assembly. We wanted to give a brief outline on a lot of things that we see, or basically this assembly, which is a rebirth assembly, and that's the name of the national ministry. We also have ministries in Texas, Louisiana, South Carolina, Arizona, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, North Carolina. So, but this is just a small portion of the awakening. If you have questions, please write them down so we can address all of them. You know, we're capable. No one has all the answers, but all the ones we can answer, we would be willing to answer. Next slide, yes. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it standing up. Yeah, I'm gonna stand up. This is the way we break the Bible down. Who shall we teach knowledge, and whom shall we make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk. That one right there. He's coming off milk. So when you're weaning someone off of milk, you're moving them from milk to more solid food. And those that are drawn from the breast. So it's saying the babies, and it says, so for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people. That is God, which is not the original word in the Bible. It is Elohim. I'm going to try to use God, but we've tried to get a lot of the old ways out of our system. So if I slip and say Elohim, just know I'm reverting back to the word that they replaced in the Bible as God. So precept must be upon precept. It's saying the Bible is going to say the same thing over and over in different places of the Bible. Line upon line, it's going to be basically, you can see it's saying the same thing, but it's going to be here a little and there a little. So Revelations may say one scripture, and Exodus may say the same scripture. Exodus is the last, Revelation is the last book of the Bible. Exodus is the second book of the Bible. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we want to go back to the Hebrew names of those books too. And with stammering lips and another tongue, he'll speak to his people. Stammering lips and stuttering. Not only is he going to be stuttering, it's going to be in a different language. So we also got to keep in mind that the Bible, the King James Version of the Bible, is a translation of the Hebrew Bible. The ESV is a translation. The New King James is a translation. The YSV is a translation. They are all translations of a particular book, the Hebrew Bible. And within translation, you lose things and gain things. Things that wasn't there and things that we may say is a transportation, but it literally said automobile. So someone would come back, oh, they mean transportation. They just know. Automobile and transportation is two different things, but those type of things get lost in translation. We have tried, a lot of us, many of us and your family members, so if you ever kind of encounter us or hear us talking, it's bubonics, I call it, because a lot of people have started to learn or trying to learn Hebrew. The two Morays studied more of a Paleo or ancient dialect. Sister Madia is more of a modern Hebrew. So myself, you know, she was schooling me in the car coming back from Sukkah. So we are not here to say I'm not a scholar. I'm not claiming to be a scholar. But we are all studying to show ourselves approved and make ourselves done. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. Wherefore ye do well that ye take heed and unto a light that shineth in the dark place until the day is dawn and the day star rises in your heart, knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. We do believe in prophecy, and you'll see it in the presentation. Prophecy strongly points to specific things. If I tell y'all today, basically because it's America, if I told y'all 9/11 was gonna happen 10 years before it happened, that would speak to you, right? The Bible speaks to us in that way, and it says, so you have a more sure word of prophecy because we can see the things in the Bible that have happened, so it ensures us. Therefore, it also says it has no private interpretation. So if the scriptures say this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. If it say that building is gonna fall over, that building is gonna fall over. We may not know particularly what building or what time, but biblical prophecy is very specific. James 2:6 says, for the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead. So we believe, when we believe these prophecies, we must do the work that the prophecy says we must do. Next slide. The Table of Nations. This is where it all starts out, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what backgrounds we are, so I'm trying to be really general because I know some people came from different faiths. Some people didn't have a faith. I know one of the sisters within our assembly was a Jehovah's Witness. It's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses within different assemblies, Muslims, what other denominations? Baptists, Kojic, Catholics. It's a wide range of Americans, and not just saying Americans, but North America, South America, the West Indies that are waking up. And so I'm trying to just be in general. It's not like I'm trying to come from a church perspective. And Africa. But the Table of Nations is where, let me just read. Genesis 9:19. These are the three sons of Noah, and them was the whole world overspread. Genesis 10 is the Table of Nations that shows you the descendants of Noah. So if you read the Bible, and I don't know, and that's why I'll put that out there, because I don't know how many people are familiar with the Bible. When you go through the Table of Nations, it starts to list these people. Japhet begot this people, and this people, and Ashkenaz, and this person. All those people are still on the planet. So when the back of the book tells you who someone is, you can easily go to the front of the book to be like, oh, Revelations is talking about these people, because it listed it. It's almost like a dictionary. You can just reference it. Japheth, Shem, and Ham are the three sons that came out of the ark with Noah. If everyone knows the story of Noah's ark, you understand the world was flooded, everyone died but his family. So the rest of the world that's on the planet today, or men that's on the planet today, men and women, come from that lineage. We are strictly going through Shem's lineage because that is the lineage of Christ. According to Genesis 10:21, Shem is the father of Eber and all his children. So Eber is a transliteration of the word Ivri, or Ivri. In Hebrew, when you put the ha sound on the beginning of the word, you are saying the. So if I say the spirit in Hebrew is Hokadesh, no, Ruach. So if you say Haruach, you're saying the Ruach. So instead of writing it the spirit, you would write Haruach, and you are saying the spirit. So when you see Ha'ivri, that is the Hebrew, which transliterated into Hebrew, that's where you get the term Hebrew. Abraham and his children would go on to be called Hebrews from that part on, because they are descendant of Eber. We believe we are the descendant of these people, and that's why we call ourselves Hebrews. It is not a religion, it is a bloodline connection, an ethnicity. That is our ethnicity, it is not our religion.
Basically the E1B1 DNA code, so
E1B1A.
E1B1A. You can go back and do your research on, everybody goes back to one of these three people. So they've done extensive research to show that everybody, no matter who you are, you go back to one of these three people. So, you know, but they show that African Americans, so-called African Americans, go back to Shem because the Bible dictionary says it lists Ham as the father of all the African races, but it says the Negroes. It has it italicized. They say except the Negroes. So if the Negroes are not part of the African lineage, then who are they part of? Because we know we go back to Japheth, that's a part of all the European lineage. So then it only leaves us with Shem, you know, with the common denominator.
Man, you didn't help us. Okay, so think of all of Europe. French people are from Europe. British people are from Europe. German people are from Europe. Italians are from Europe. Turkish people are from Europe. Scottish people are from Europe. All of those people are Caucasian ethnicities, right? But they are all from different nations. So why would we think that all black people that came out of Africa are the same nation? Can you see the rationale in that? I mean, it doesn't make sense. If all the other nations on the planet got different nations, but they are all Caucasian, why would all black people be the same nation? We, when they check our skulls, craniology, it shows that the Bantu people in South and West Africa are totally different people from the Hamitic Africans. When they check the skulls in Israel, those were the same skulls they found. When they checked the skulls in Egypt, when they checked to see who was the slaves in Egypt, it was also the Bantu people. When they compared the Bantu skulls with the slaves of Americans, they were the same people. Go ahead, next slide. Israelites. Now we're moving on to what is an Israelite. Matthew 1 and 2, Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac begot Jacob. And in Genesis 25, 19 through 26, it lists the genealogy of Esau and Jacob. Genesis 32 and 28, Jacob was no longer called Jacob because his name was changed to Israel. So you got Esau and Jacob, which were the sons of Isaac, which was the son of Abraham. Esau would become the father of the Edomites. Israel is the father of the Israelites, hence the word Israel. That's why we are Hebrew Israelites, because we come from Eber and Israel. Ite is a suffix that means from, a place, tribe, leader, or person. So whenever you see a ite on the end of a word, it just means they're from that. If they were a black, or the place was black, and they could call them the Blackites, because they came from black. If their leader name was Pookie, and I just don't know why I use Pookie, if their leader name was, if they were the Pookieites, it would be, they fell under a leader named Pookie. Just to give you that. Next slide. These became the 12 tribes of Israel. They were the 12 sons of Israel. This comes from, I want to say, Genesis 35, 23, 24, 25, and 26. The sons of Leah was Reuben, his firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Behal was Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, was Gad and Asher. So you get Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. You might want to remember Joseph, because he's going to come to play. I mean, all the names are, we're not going to hit on all of them, but we're definitely probably going to hit on Levi, Judah, and Joseph throughout the presentation. Keep going. First, we're going to touch off the biblical appearance of these Israelites. Because we believe, we don't have to believe, it's fact. the Bible was written by Israelites to Israelites about Israelites. It's basically a history book for the Israelite people. We're gonna go over what they said their hair looked like, what they said their skin looked like, and try to parse these people out today, because these people are still on the planet. In Leviticus 13, 29 through 13, also I think that we got an email address. You can email us and we'll email these slides to you. So, you know, take notes. And it is Rebirth OKC. Rebirth OKC, if you remember, Rebirth OKC, if you just email us, tell us you want the slides, we'll send you slides to you if you can't write them all down in time. Leviticus 13, 29 through 31. It speaks of the plagues that went through Israel in the early days. And it says, if a man or woman have a plague upon their head or in their beard, then the priest shall see the plague. And behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it yellow hair, yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and it is a dry scab, even a leprosy. You see the man on the picture, he has a leprosy. So it's saying, if you can look into that scab, and that hair is yellow, which is blonde hair, that is a leprosy. So that shows that those people could not have blonde hair. But we'll get into that even more. But 31, and if the priest look upon the plague of the scab, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and that there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up him that has the plague of scale for 7 days. They're gonna shut him up for 7 days, and they're gonna come back and check to see if they have black hair. That really singles out a group of people that they had to have black hair, because if their hair was blonde, they had a plague and you had to be cast out. And if it was no black hair, they knew that you had the plague, so you had to be cast out. That's just one, next slide, that we are linking to what type of hair you have. Then the priest shall see that the plague, and behold, if in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean and dry and skin. Yeah, that's a yes, same thing. Oh yeah, that's the same thing. This is Songs of Solomon. So my beloved is white. White means glowing when you look it up in the world. So your skin is bright, shiny, and ruddy. Ruddy, if you get a chance, just Google ruddy. I'm not saying, okay, everything that it is. Well, if you just Google ruddy, it'll show you what color that is. But the chieftains among them are thousands. His head is of most fine gold. His locks, I say it again, locks are bushy and black as a raven. So you're dealing with a group of people that had locks, bushy hair, and black hair. 44 and 20 says, neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only pull their hair. So they couldn't let it grow long, but they had locks. Next slide. Judges 16, 17. In that he told her all his heart. This is, if y'all not familiar with Samson and Delilah, so Samson was a judge in Israel that had powers to bring judgment upon the enemies of Israel, and he said his power was within his hair. And he was telling his woman where his power derived from in this chapter. That he told her that his heart, and said unto her that had not it come a raise up on my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If he be shaved, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like any other man. And she made him sleep upon her knee, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks. So if you think about other people in the world, they can't have 7 locks of hair that grow that way and stay that way. It would have to be, I mean, just think of just a long shaggy hair. You can't have locks with long shaggy hair. And we are the only people whose hair will naturally lock. No, yeah. Yeah, she caused him to shave off his head. the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went away. So he lost his strength once those 7 locks were cut off his head.
That's an example right
Okay, we got an example in there. You can clearly see distinguished locks that you could cut off.
here.
Bantu knots are also likewise, I want the women to adorn themselves with respectable apparel and modesty, and with the self-control, not with broiled hair or gold or pearls or expensive clothing. It was speaking be modest, but the broiled hair, when you research it, it is braided hair. And not many people that aren't of woolly hair or melanated people braid their hair as a natural hairstyle. Their skin, moved on the skin, it said, I am black, but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. When you look up the tents of Kedar, they still use black tents today, or black covers, to repel the sun, to repel heat away from them. So it's showing that they are saying, I'm black and comely. I am. My skin is black upon me, this is Job 30:30, and my bones are burned with heat. Our skins were, Lamentations 5:10, our skins were black like an oven because of the terrible famine. When we go hungry, if you ever look on the, I don't remember the little Save the Children commercials they used to have, and you see starving kids, your skin, if you are melanated, your skin gets darker when you get malnourished or you are starving. And if you are a Caucasian person, you get paler. So they would actually be more white or whiter like snow when they got home or famine. Exodus 4:5-7, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob had appeared unto thee. So the whole point that's coming after this is he's about to do something amazing, that they may believe that the Lord thy God, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to Moses. That's what that's talking about. So this is what he's going to do that's amazing. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, talking to Moses, put thy hand into thy bosom, and put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, the hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put thy hand in thy bosom again. And he put it in his bosom again. And he plucked it out his bosom, and behold, it had turned again as his other flesh. So when he put his hand in his bosom and pulled it out, it turned leprous as snow. Sister Lisa, sorry to do this to you, but would you put your hand up? If she put her hand in her bosom and pulled it out, and it was white as snow, would that really be a miracle? But if I did it at my complexion and my hand came out her color, and I put it back in and it came in my color, would that not be an amazing miracle? That you would say, that's, because it was thousands of people he was talking through. So if you from way back there on the 1,000 row, and a Caucasian person would pull their hand out and it's white as snow, it's gonna look white like the rest of their body. That is not the miracle it was talking about. This was a melanated person. And we are talking about Moses in this passage. Acts 13:1 says, now they were in the church that was in Antioch, certain prophets and teachers, and Barnabas and Silas, Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius and Cyrene and Medina, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and thy soul. The key word is called Niger. That is the root word from nigger. If you look up the word Niger, it is black. It is directly where nigger comes from. So why would they call him black? Y'all know anybody named Black? Last name ain't Black. Anybody know anybody, the nickname Black? We call him Black. unless his last name is Black. But I mean, how many of y'all know somebody named Black? Don't nobody know nobody called Black? Yeah, I'm just saying I done ran across some people that their nickname was literally Black. Keep going. Skin. Okay, this is ruddy. Beloved. My beloved is white and ruddy. Chiefest among them, tens of thousands, we read it up there. That is literally the color ruddy. So that is Solomon, a description of Solomon. David is also referred to as ruddy in the Bible also. Esau was also described in the Bible as ruddy. Red and ruddy. That is the red when you see ruddy. People be like, it's red. That is the red ruddy they talking about. That's fine. Look at the pictures on the wall. Yes, them is my grandchildren. She's looking like that because that's her daughter. Who tell you to put my daughter up there? I put that there for a reason. If you go to an abandoned house and you look at the pictures on the wall, and all the pictures on the wall are black, who do you think lived in that house? Man, thank you for the interaction. If you went into a house and all the pictures on the wall are Hispanic, who probably lives there? Hispanic people. That's the whole point. Don't listen to what people tell you. Look for yourself. So, next slide. Mistaken for Egyptians. Throughout the Bible, the Israelites were consistently mistaken for Egyptians. When we look at the pictures on the wall in Egypt, those people were melanated people. These are scriptures throughout scripture where people were mistaken for Egyptians that were Israelites. We're going to go through each one of them, but I'll just let y'all write them down. The story of Joseph. Joseph was one of remember the 12 sons of Israel. Joseph was the one that got sold into slavery into Egypt. He wound up in Egypt, and when his brothers came, they did not know him. If they were a purely different race from the Egyptian people, he would at least notice this man is not one of them. Genesis 57:11, and when the inhabitants of the land of Canaan saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Therefore, the name of it was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. At that funeral, they were burying Jacob, whose name was literally changed to Israel. When they were burying Israel, he was mistaken for Egyptians. That's how much the Egyptians and the Israelites looked alike. That's all. Exodus 2:1-19. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelled in the land of Midian. And he sat down by the well. So women came and they were getting harassed. And then on 19 it says, and they said, or I'm gonna give you some backstory. So people came and harassed the women that was trying to get some water. And Moses helped them get water. So their dad asked them, how did they get done getting water that fast? The answer's in verse 19. And it says, and they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. So take the passage down, read the whole passage for yourself. You will see Moses was then mistaken for an Egyptian. The same guy that put his hand in there, came out white, put it back, and it came back with color. Matthew 2:13-14. And then they were departed. Behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young children and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and the mother by night and departed into Egypt. If Christ was being taken to Egypt to be hidden, why would you take a person of a different color skin or different nationality and take them and hide them amongst the people where you could easily find them? Does that make sense? Not at all. Not at all. So we've shown by all the other scriptures that Israelites were consistently getting mistaken for Egyptians. So now you can understand why they would take an Israelite baby into Egypt to hide it. The description of the Messiah, Revelations 1:14-15. It says his head and his hair was white like wool, and white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet were like unto fine brass, as if it had been burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Anything you put in a furnace and burn is going to have color to it. The only descriptions of the Messiah is telling you it was like burned brass. We don't think that's the Messiah on that picture either. We're just giving you a depiction of a man that looks like burnt brass with white woolly hair, white as snow. Trying to adjust your imagination. Man, we still being mistaken for Egyptians. We then got over into the New Testament. That bottom one is going to be Philippians 3 and 5. And jump up. Starting at 38, Acts 21, 38 through 39. Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leadest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Sicilia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, Cilicia, something to speak unto my people. Philippians 3 and 7 says, circumcise the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee. That is Paul. That whole description is about Paul. Paul said that he was a Hebrew of Hebrews, meaning his mother was a Hebrew and his father was a Hebrew. And you could see he got mistaken for they asked him, art thou not the Egyptian? So that was even Paul in the New Testament getting mistaken as an Egyptian. So they're showing you these people in his Bible look like a lot of people in this room. All right, check on learning. So we went over the hair. We talked about the people that had to have black hair. If their hair was white, yellow, or blonde in color, they were considered leprous. If their skin was white, it was leprous. If you go back and read that section, it said if the white in their skin spreads. So if you ever scratch yourself or got a scalp and you pull that scalp off sometime, it'll be white. Over time, freckles are developing it and you'll get your color back. If their white skin continued to spread, they were leprous. So we went through hair, skin, and they looked like Egyptians. So I asked the question, is this a white man's book? Because a lot of people will say this is a white man's book or a white man's Bible. So if all the people that were Israelites were melanated people, those people wrote the book about their lives, that Samson and Delilah, or King David, King David came from Shem, but if you go down the line, Moses and the people that went through the Red Sea, all the stories of the Bible are about these people, the Israelites. And when we look in this book, these people look like us. The prophecies. Revelations 2 and 9 says, I know thy works and thy tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich, And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Revelations 3:9. Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which says they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Okay, so who is speaking these words?
This is Mashiach. This is the Messiah, Christ the Messiah. So in Revelations, at the very end of the book, he's telling you it's some people on this planet in the end times saying that they are Jews and they are not. We don't even call ourselves Jews. If we did call ourselves something to it, it would be Yahudim, if that, because we know the letter J didn't even exist. So we are not Jews and we are not Jewish. We do consider ourselves Yahudim. So in the end times, it's people that's living on this planet according to the Messiah that says they Jews and they not. He say they not my people. I'm gonna make them worship before your feet, and you gonna know that I've loved you, and that's powerful if you think about all the stuff our people went through. For at the end of times, people have to acknowledge that we are His people. We're gonna touch on that a little bit. Bible also speaks of lost identity. It's a group of people that lost their identity, which is the Israelites according to the Bible. In Jeremiah 17, and all the prophets in the Bible also were Israelites. And thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Psalms 83, 1 through 4 talks about how the nations have conspired to steal take your heritage from you. Isaiah 1, 2, and 3 talks about the same thing. We were talking earlier about precept upon precept. That's basically what that is. Jeremiah says it. David says it in Psalms. Isaiah says it also. So you have three different prophets saying you're going to lose your identity. And like I said, the reason we're doing all this is because we really want the people that we love to understand we are in this book. We are in the Bible. We are merely trying to live a life, even if it seems different and weird, we are trying to live what we have identified the Bible says to us. So a quick experiment, this comes from a pastor. He also is a Hebrew Israelite who has transitioned his church from modern Christianity over to this Hebraic faith. His name is Richardson Kelly. And this is something that I saw him do, or we've all probably seen him do it. And just to show you that we have been discontinued from our heritage, I want y'all to, we'll do it as an experiment. When I call out a people group, y'all say what country they from. Got it? When I call out a people group, y'all say what country they from. Chinese. Japanese. All right, man, we got it. All right, so let's do that with me. We're going to go down. We're going to go through a few. British.
Britain.
French.
France.
German. Russian. Black.
Africa.
Black. Africa's not a nation. Africa is a continent.
Black is a color.
African American.
Okay.
But Africa is not a nation, it's a continent. No, oh yeah. Brazilian.
Brazil.
Argentinian. You see how that works? We have been discontinued from our heritage. So the prophecies say that these people would be discontinued from their heritage. So you're dealing with people that's got black hair, got black skin, they discontinued from their heritage. We got to put the pieces of the puzzle together and say, who is this Bible talking about? Keep on this. The blessings and the curses. The blessings and the curses in Deuteronomy 28 is one of the most powerful and convincing piece of information for me. And just quick about my background. I was a Christian since like 1999 up until 2017, maybe late 2016. And I still was working within my church in 2017 because I'm trying to figure out a way, how do I wake these people up? How do I wake these people up? And so I'm also retired military. And within the military, the regulations govern the military. If the rule says you don't wear a hat in the building, you don't wear a hat in the building because that's what the regulations say. If the regulations say you wear this particular uniform for this particular event, that's what you do because that's what the regulations say. So my approach to the Bible is the same way. If the Bible say it, we have to accept it. So when I started reading the Bible and seeing these blessings and curses, it made so much sense to me that I had to stop and reevaluate. Even though I knew I may hurt a lot of my loved ones and let a lot of people down because people kind of want you to fit in their narrative. But do you want to be right with the Most High God of this Bible or the people in this world? You have to make that choice. So the blessings and the curses, this hopefully this is powerful because it was powerful to me. So according to prophecy, who are the Israelites? These are the blessings. It's a set of blessings and curses that when we made a covenant with the Most High on Mount Sinai, that he said these things. Deuteronomy 28, this is verses 1 and 2. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So it says if you do all his commandments, you're going to have these blessings. And he's going to set you on high above all the nations on the earth. So in the time of King David, King Solomon, even the time of King Shaul, the very first king of Israel, the world feared Israel. When, what was her name that came and saw Solomon? Queen Sheba. She was amazed out of mind. All his gold and all his work, they were literally above all people, but they were keeping the commandments at that point. If you continue to read, they stopped keeping the commandments and they went in and out of captivity, the whole Bible. The whole Bible. Until the Messiah said, y'all gonna go into captivity. We'll get into that. Go ahead, next slide. So verses 1 through 14 are the blessings. Verses 15 through 30 through 68 are the curses. 15 says, but it shall come to pass that if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe all his commandments and all his statutes, which I command thee this day, that's the day when they met him at the mountain, he gave him the commandments, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So he said, if you don't keep these commandments, these curses are going to overtake you. Deuteronomy 28 and 46. I always put this at the top because it makes it relevant today. So we're going to go through a bunch of them, but I put 46 at the top before I ever go down because it says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So it says it's going to be for a sign and a wonder, and it's going to be upon your children for how long?
Forever.
The Ark in Houston say he researched forever just to make sure and see what it really meant. Y'all know how long forever is? Forever. Forever. Forever is forever. So today is part of forever, right? All right, just want to make sure. The curse shall thy be, and y'all hear this because people will teach, curse, I'm blessed in the field, I'm blessed when I come and go, but that only applies when you keep the commandments. That's what the last verses just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so curse shall thy be in the city, and curse shall thy be in the field. Curse shall thy be thy basket and thy store. I tell people that's your wallet and your bank account. Your basket is your wallet that you take around with you. Your store is your storehouse, your bank account. Cursed shall thy be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flock of thy sheep. Cursed shall thy be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thy be when thou go out. These people are gonna be cursed when they don't keep them commandments. Next slide. I had brought it up earlier, but we got to it. If you look on the left, it says Luke 21 and 24. This was really compelling to me. This is the Messiah talking. It's probably gonna be in red, in a red letter Bible. And it says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now, the Messiah says they're gonna be taken captive into all nations after he died. After he died, they're gonna be taken to all nations. If you keep reading Luke, you're gonna see eventually he get killed, and then they get, later on in life, they get 70 AD, they get taken captivity. But it says until the land will be trodden down until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. So I was always taught that I'm a Gentile. And if I'm a Gentile, we should have that land right now. Or the Gentiles should still be trodden down. We as Gentiles should be trodden that land down until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. But that means the Gentiles have that land, because the Gentiles is gonna have that land until it's fulfilled. But when you go back over to Deuteronomy 28, those curses, part of those curses, 25 said, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemy. Thou shalt go out one way again then against them, and they shall flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. All the kingdoms of the earth is all the nations of the earth. It's the same precept. The Messiah said it thousands of years after it was said in Deuteronomy 28. It's one of the curses. So he was just probably telling you, these are the curses. Y'all gonna get them curses next time. And if I'm missing something, y'all laying back. Deuteronomy 28 and 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and the house shall not dwell therein. And thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes. That sounds a whole lot like slavery in this country. Someone would marry a bride that was a slave, and master would take her. They would plant the vines and pick the vines, but they didn't get any of that wealth. They would build the houses, and they had to go live out in the slave quarter. Next slide. So, matter of fact, go back one slide. So, as we go through this portion of the curses, this is what they said is going to be on the children of Israel forever until they turn back.
As a sign.
As a sign. So if you look through history, you can say, you can kind of see who is not the people and who are the people. Because who have betrothed wives and another man took their wives within other nations? If you look at it in nations, what nation of people have built houses and they didn't get to live in them? What nation of people have farmed the farms and didn't get no wealth from the farms that they farmed? I mean, just think about it. When did that ever happen in history? Go ahead. So, Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, that means a people that's not like you, and thy eyes shall look and fall with longing for them all the days long, and there shall be no might left in your hand. They was coming over to Africa, and they were, man, that's a whole long story, but they weren't taking old people. They was taking the cream of the crop, young folk that was healthy, that could make their trip, and they could get years of production out of it. Nobody, no other nation fits that prophecy as well. Next slide. Deuteronomy 28:33. The fruit of the land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be oppressed and crushed always. Always. You're going to be oppressed always. It's not a lot of nations, or it says a nation which thou knowest not. So it's gonna be a different nation that you don't know, and they are going to oppress you. So somebody that don't look like you is gonna oppress you, or somebody that is not you is gonna oppress you. That's one of the curses. These prophecies only talk about a particular group. Deuteronomy 28:36. And the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation neither thou nor thy fathers have known. That means you nor your people before you had known these people. And they shall serve other gods of wood and stone. Since we are detached from our heritage, what God did we serve before we got here? Can anybody answer that question?
Jesus.
We served Jesus before we got here.
Wait,
That's like we don't know, but we know we didn't because I don't like that. You can go back to Africa and it was no Christianity in Africa before the missionaries brought it there later on in life. So that's like recent history. Because the Protestant faith didn't even come until after the Catholic faith. So all it would have been was Islam and Catholicism for a long time. Until, y'all know when Martin Luther's Reformation was? I think it was the 1500s, maybe 1400s. Martin Luther, the Apocrypha, okay, and I'm not gonna get into this real deep, but books were taken out of the Bible. So think about today. If all of a sudden we said, we're gonna take all Solomon's writings out of the Bible, how would people that read the Bible feel about that? Would that be acceptable? I'm just asking.
No. Like a
But-
slap in the face.
Even when the Protestant church left the Catholic church, the Apocrypha was taken from the other places and they just put it in the middle of the book to separate the Old Testament from the quote-unquote Old Testament from the quote-unquote New Testament. But those books are still in existence. You still can find them on next day. But just to show, it's a lot of things that have transpired in this world. But it was gods of wood and stone. I know people don't want to hear it, and we are definitely not here to bash anybody's religion, because we happy you in the book. Stay in the book, because the book will eventually speak to you. It spoke to us, and that's all I can say on that. And Islam, they parade around, in Mecca, they parade around the stone, what is it, the Mecca stone? Cobblestone. I believe the name of it is the Rowan, it's the outside of it, and they go look in a little hole, and they literally they may not be bowing down to it, but they really were. They fly to walk around it. You worshiping it. Christianity, and not to bash Christianity of anybody's Christianity, but they say they don't worship crosses. But when you put something on high, you could be primarily or potentially worshiping. Because it's on every Christian facility that you're gonna go to. Dang near. But we don't want to label all Christians as one sort of people, because all Israelites are one side. Everyone does something differently, but just going about.
Say something in regard to that. So that house that they worship, it's not that they worship that house. That house was built by Abraham and his son Ishmael. It was it was the first house of worship that was actually set up. And so that's what they were not worshiping the building itself, but that was a place where they went to worship. And what they were doing is they're making incumbents around that house in regard to what that was a tradition that
Are they paying homage, or what's the significance of the stone?
The stone the stone was placed. Okay, so the stone was placed by Muhammad. There's a meteor that's there. And that stone represents the place where they went to worship. And what they're not worshiping the stone. They're making homage to the fact that this is a house of worship that was set.
So they're going there to worship?
They're going there to.
They're going to the
God.
stone to worship?
Yeah, they're praying to God.
Okay.
And they're making circumvents around there as
And that may be, because I'm gonna say this, because I don't want us to get into a back and forth, because I'm trying to show what we believe. And so then you can take it and parse it. But It said they would serve other gods of wood and stone. When I see someone going to worship where a place of a stone is, I know the Israelites didn't do that because they understood you made no carving out of anything. You reverenced nothing that was of wood or stone because we have a unseeable. He is so finite, you can't imagine our Elohim. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have any inanimate objects that would represent something that's infinite. You know what I mean? Or anything that he did. If you get what I'm saying. I'm saying that group of people, the Israelites, would not worship a Elohim of wood or stone.
You got a precept for that.
Hit it.
As you were saying earlier, precepts is something that falls upon line within the Torah. Exodus 20, verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto them, thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Back to verse 3. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto them, the third and fourth generation that hate me.
And so I'm not saying, because you may know more about that Islam than we do, but, so I'm not gonna say they bow down and worship it. I'm saying us as our culture, especially with the Exodus that he just wrote, the verse from Exodus. If it's a meteor that came from somewhere, we not fooling with it because we know what Torah say. We are Torah based. So if it came from the heavens or from the earth below, we ain't fooling with it because we ain't flying across the country to walk around it. None of that, because we know Torah say our Elohim is infinite. No idols, nothing that represents. It's nothing that can represent you.
Also, even if Abraham had made, or if he had something to do with it, you see the golden snake that was lifted up for Israel. Who made that snake? It was lifted up when the snakes were biting, and they were supposed to look up at the snake. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, so yeah, Moses, Aaron made that snake. Moshe made that snake. Wasn't a problem until later they started to reference the snake, and it became a stumbling block for Israel.
And he just said, look on it, you'll be healed. Don't do nothing with it. Next slide, because I'm trying not to, we just get through the presentation and we have many question and answers again. So Deuteronomy 28:37 says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where the Lord shall lead you. So you're gonna be led some places, and that's just showing some depictions of some bywords. It's not very many groups of people or nations of people that have bywords that depict them. But in Spanish countries, we were Negroes. In the South, we were niggers. At one point, we were colored. We changed ourselves to blacks, African American. We have always been a byword. We have never been a particular race of people where we've just been given our nationality. But through the Bible now, we understand we the people of this book. We are literally the Israelites of this book. Deuteronomy 28, and like we're just using these prophecies. These prophecies say this stuff is going to happen to these people. And these people are still on this earth. So we're trying to find out what people do these prophecies point to. It got to be somebody, and they got to be on this earth if you believe this book. Deuteronomy 28:41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, and thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go unto captivity. We know that they took sons and daughters and separated all types of families doing. I mean, you can watch Roots, Queen, Amistad, any slavery movie that you ever could think of, and go down the prophecies of Deuteronomy 28 and just say, we are those people. Point blank, period.
Birth of a nation is
Yeah, birth of a nation. It kind of shows how once they broke us, they start putting other religions into us. And it fulfills that prophecy because we would serve gods that we didn't know. Deuteronomy 28, 43 and 44. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And thou shalt lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to them. And he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now, emphasized on verse 43, it says, they shall lend to thee, the strangers or Gentiles, and they shall not lend to, and thou shalt not lend to them. We don't own no banks. We don't have no financial, we don't have no political power, yet alone financial power in this earth. So this prophet literally says you're gonna get, the other people gonna get very high. And it ain't too many people, and I'm just being realistic. Sometimes we don't like to hear this, but it ain't very many people lower than us in power and equity. Man, it's a precept to say they'll rot away in jailhouses. Isaiah. And we are 14% of the population, but we 80% of the prison population. Those prophecies point directly to us. And unless we know, because I don't know of any that can't get no loan, or don't, they do all the lending. They own all the networks, they own just about everything. Not to put anything, it's lovely to own stuff, but just to put it in perspective of that, it says he shall lend to thee and thou shalt not lend to him. So if they are the people, we not lending to them. The Gentiles ain't lending to them, so something gotta be wrong if we the Gentiles. Because we know they got scattered for not keeping these commandments. Deuteronomy 28 and 45 says, moreover, these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded. So these curses come upon you for us because we won't keep his commandments. That's the bottom line. The Bible got a whole bunch of commandments in them, and we not doing a class on the commandments. Of course, you cannot keep certain commandments, because certain commandments are to be kept when you are in your land. Certain commandments are to be kept when you are in captivity, because it'll say, in all the nations where you are carried captive, it'll say you are to do this. So, you know, you really got to read the word and turn back to Torah, but that is the reason that all this has came on this particular group of people, according to the Bible. Next slide. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shall thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until they have destroyed thee. We literally, that's really like a little, it's literal pictures. You can just go Google yoke of iron, and I'm not promoting Google, I'm just saying research. It's not very many people that you will see with yokes of iron around their neck. And we're just trying to show our loved ones, this is what we see, and this is why we believe this. And this is why we have turned back to these commandments, because it continues to say, that's the way to fix it. Politicians can't fix it, money can't fix it. Turning back to those commandments fixes it, according to the Bible. And if you don't prescribe to the Bible, I understand it. It makes no sense to you. But when you see a group of people that start turning back to these commandments and their lives start to flourish, then maybe you'll remember, oh, that's that thing they was talking about. We gotta keep these commandments.
And also, when it says, and in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, meaning that's what we do now. When we're hungry, we go to other nations. We don't feed ourselves. We don't grow our own food. We don't do none of that. In nakedness, we go buy our clothes from them. We hardly make our own clothes. You know? So, and they want for all things. So anything we need, we go to them.
That is this prophecy too, man. We don't, I harp on this. As a people, what do we produce as a people? I mean, it's stuff that I mean, what's them avocados? We know avocados come from the Mexicans. But us as a nation of people, we produce nothing as a nation. That's a sad state to be in. We gotta go to other people for all our food, all our medication. I mean, you name it, we gotta go to other people, and it says, in want of all things. And we want all things from other people, because we don't have it ourselves. This, the next slide that we going through, the prophecy is, the last prophecy in Deuteronomy 28, but I stuck this house of bondage in there to kind of get people to see what it's saying. And this is kind of how we see it says this. And Moshe said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So what is Egypt? According to that slide. The house of bondage. For by strength of thy hand the Lord brought thee out from the place, there shall no leavened bread be eaten. And then we're going to jump down to 14 in that same passage of Exodus 13. This is 3, and then we jump down to 14. And because I'm showing precepts. It's saying the same thing in different places. And it shall be when thy son ask thee in time to come, saying, what is this? That thou shalt say unto him, by strength of hand the Lord brought us from Egypt, from the house of bondage. Egypt, the house of bondage. Egypt, the house of bondage. Precept is over in Deuteronomy 2. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Or Egypt, the house of bondage. Deuteronomy 7 and 8. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, had the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh in Egypt. So you was a bondman, and if you go look up Google again, bondage, it's gonna say slavery. Bondage is synonymous with slavery. Bondage is synonymous with Egypt. And going down to 26 and 6, and Egyptians evil entreated us and afflicted us and laid upon us hard bondage. So you were in slavery when you were in Egypt. Deuteronomy 28 and 68, you got to ask people, who fits this prophecy? And the Lord shall bring thee unto Egypt again with ships, by the way I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Where it says no man shall buy you, what's the scripture they always? They say Jesus paid the price. That's what that's referring to. No man will redeem you. No man will buy your whole nation's freedom. That's what that's referring to. It says, and you will go into Egypt again in ship. What was Egypt synonymous for?
House of bondage.
House of bondage. So you will go into the house of bondage again with ships. By the way I spake of you, thou shalt see it no more. So when I talk to you, you ain't gonna see it no more. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, for slaves. So where did this take place in history, where a group of people were sold to their enemy on slave ships? And to what people? And if y'all can see, we are the descendants of people that was brought to this country on slave ships. So it's just more information that leads us to believe this Bible is talking to us. Numbers 23 and 19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Had he said he had not do it, he had spoken and he shall not make it good. He said, I'm God. If I said it, it's gonna happen. What kind of God am I going be to say this is gonna happen and then I don't make it good. All those prophecies we just read, he said, what I say, I mean. So that stuff had to happen to a group of people. Even the future stuff that we're gonna get onto, future in the slide, he said those things, he's gonna do those things. Deuteronomy 8:3, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord do man live. We as men live by what comes out the word of God. The word of God is that Bible. So we are turning back to Torah and trying to live our life the best way we possibly can, because we understand that is the word of God. Malachi 3:6 says, for I am the Lord, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. He said, I change not. So if he said he gonna do it, he's gonna do it. So why would he tell them, if y'all don't keep these commandments, I'm gonna do this to y'all, then he turn around and don't do it. But when we turn around and look at our lives, we can clearly see he did that to a group of people that's still on the planet of earth. So why do we need to know this? We're like, man, okay, we the Israelites. Why is this important? That's because we have work to do. Many people don't know that he gave his law, statutes, and commandments to a group of people that was supposed to show the rest of the world how they were supposed to live and how to be a God or try to become one with him. And that group of people, as we saw in all the prophecies, they never did it. Because when you go through the Bible, it says over and over, they went into captivity, he split up the kingdom, he took the kingdom from Solomon, it ended up being a northern kingdom, a southern kingdom, they continued going into slavery to the Greeks, they went into slavery into Babylon, they went into slavery into Rome. All they did was go into slavery, and we know that the Messiah said when he died, they're gonna go into slavery again. Okay. Deuteronomy 30:1-5 says, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses. Now this is powerful, because this tells us how we get back. Leviticus 26:40-46. They are precepts. They say the exact same thing. 1 Kings 8:46-49. They all say this is how you get back to him. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses, which I have set before you this day. So he's saying the blessings and the curses are going to come up on these people. So we know, we know those people, the curses came up on those people. Verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God. Oh, I didn't finish. Okay, go back up where it's getting highlighted. The curses which I have set before this day, thou shalt call to mind among all the nations, where the Lord God had driven me. So he driven you to all the nations that he did, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I commanded thee this day, thou and thy children, and all thy hearts, with all thy hearts, and with all thy soul. Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God has scattered thee. So he done scattered you, so he's saying that's where you hear Jesus is coming back, because he's coming back to get a people from where they were scattered. And who are the only people that live in the land where they were scattered? The ex-slaves in Britain still live in Britain. The ex-slaves in South America still live in South America. The ex-slaves in Central America still live in Central America. The ex-slaves in the West Indies still live in West Indies. The slaves that were in the Arabic slave trade still live in Arabia. They even had the Aborigines in Australia. They enslaved them and put yokes of iron around their neck too. And when you check their DNA, the L-DNA reverts back. Their maternal DNA reverts back to the L, which is also the female lineage of Hebrew. A1B1A is the male lineage. The L1 and 2, I believe, L1 and 2 are the female lineage of Hebrew women. And it passes from father to father to father and mother to mother to mother. And he said, it is a light thing that thou should be my servant, to rise up the tribe of Jacob, and to restore the preserve of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Acts 13, the precepts says the same thing. For so hath the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shalt be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. When he established us, we were supposed to teach the rest of the world how to serve the Most High. That never happened because we wanted to do what we wanted to do. We wanted to go worship whatever we wanted to worship. We wanted to carve little stones. Abraham was bad. Abraham's father then was bad about it. They wanted to make their own gods and then pray to them like they didn't just make them. But, so we got scattered and went into slavery, so we never did this work. We now have to do this work for the fruition of that, all the prophecies come to fruition. Psalms 147, 19 and 20. The reason this is our job, why is this our job? Why y'all gotta do it? He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. We are the only nation that he ever gave his word, his statutes, and his commandments to. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoke against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which brought you up out of the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for your iniquity. Iniquity means sin or transgression of Torah. Romans 9:4. Ye are Israel, to whom pertaining the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the services of God and the promises. So that's telling you, that's in Romans. Paul wrote that. Paul said that the adoption pertains to Israel. So you hear, when you read scripture, so you got to think, when you read scriptures, it'll say you were adopted into me. Or you were adopted into this grace. And adopted, it says the adoptions pertain to Israel. It says the glory pertains to Israel. It says the covenants pertain to Israel because all the covenants were made with Israel and their seeds. And the giving of the law, because he only gave the law to Israel and to serve God, and the promises. The promises are, and the services of God. The services of God is this teaching, the healing, the working, all those things that the Bible talks about you're supposed to go do. It pertains to Israel. But it clearly says he hadn't dealt with any other nation, and it says, you only have I known, Israel only have you known out of all the families of the earth. That's why we believe it is our job to teach this gospel, which is keep his commandments, believe on Mashiach. You have to keep the commandments and believe on the Messiah. If you don't believe on the Messiah, you ain't gonna make it. If you don't keep the commandments, you ain't gonna make it. Y'all really okay. Exodus 19:6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. That is our job. If you kind of think about it, the Most High only deals with singular things. He dealt with Moses, and Moses dealt with the people. Then they established the priest. He dealt with the priest, and the priest dealt with the people. He dealt with the Messiah, and the Messiah dealt with the people. After Messiah, he made us a priesthood. We were to become a priesthood, and he's going to deal with us, and we're going to deal with the people. That's according to the Bible. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. It don't say speak unto the children of nobody else, but the children of Israel is who's going to be this kingdom of priests and king. And as you can see, we start in Exodus, which is in the second book of the Bible. Peter, we're in the New Testament. Revelations, we're in the last book of the Bible. 1 Peter 2:9, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation. A particular people that ye should show forth, and peculiar people, show forth in praise of him who had called you out of darkness into this marvelous light. Revelations 1:6. He's still talking about, and I had made us kings and priests unto Yah and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. So if you want to know who he made kings and priests, you go up to the front of the Bible. It says he made Israel kings and priests. You go to the New Testament, he made them kings and priests. A royal, which is kingship, and a priesthood. Next slide. Genesis 15:13. It says, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation who they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Ezekiel 37:22 says, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. So that top one is saying you're going to go and serve a people for 400 years. This cannot be talking about Egypt, because they did not serve Egyptians for 400 years. In the time of Joseph, Joseph was the governor of Egypt, so his people were set on high. So they only went into bondage, maybe 70 to 80 years after Joseph. The Bible says a Pharaoh rose up that didn't know Joseph. So it had to be well after Joseph before they ever started went into slavery in Egypt. So that 400 years cannot be Egypt. We believe that 400 years is the 400 years that we have been enslaved in the Americas and other slaveries after the transatlantic slave trade. It says that nation that you will serve, that he will also judge afterwards. So we also believe that judgment is coming. And the only reason I'm putting it out there, so it'll stimulate your mind when you see these nations start to fall, and they're the nations that had slaves. It might click a little brain in your switch in your head and be like, them people that were saying they was Israelites was saying this was going to happen. Ezekiel 37. Everybody hear people preach about the dry bones, the dry valley of the dry bones. And he gonna blow his breath on them and they gonna come alive. They broke us when they put that yoke of iron around our neck. We are dead as a people. We don't produce anything. We don't have any land. We depend on everybody for everything. We have nothing. That is what that is referring to. And so we were dead, and he's blowing, and we are waking up. Those bones are coming together. That prophecy of Ezekiel 37 is live and living today. And if you know about the Bible, can't try to give you a whole class, but the two kingdoms split. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of Israel. And that happened and they never went back together. So you read the Bible and you hear about Jesus was a Jew and they were in Judea. That's because the northern kingdom had already split. So all those other tribes, Dan, Gad, Naphtali, Zebulun, Issachar, you name them, they still on the planet, but they split up. And it says, he will make them one nation again. So this prophecy say, so we can throw the Bible away if this prophecy don't happen, but it says he's gonna bring them into one nation again in the land upon the mountains of Israel. So you're gonna be one nation in Israel again, and you're gonna have one king, and he shall be king over them all. That has not happened yet. We see that scripture and we look, that's future prophecy. So Israel has to come together again. Next slide. Israel is not done away with. Jeremiah 31, 35, 36. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for light by day, and the ordinance of the moon, and the stars for light by night, which divided the seas with the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, said the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me again. That's saying if the sun, the moon, and the stars depart, then so will Israel. So is the sun, the moon, and the stars still up in the sky? Is the waters of the roaring sea still there? The sea then waves. That means Israel, all of Israel is still there. Not just the Jews. It can't be just the Jews. It has to be Israel. Romans 11:1. This is Paul speaking. He says, I say then, had God cast away his people? He turns around and say, God forbid, for I am also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Not only is he saying that he's an Israelite, he's breaking it down for specific tribes. Israel is not done away with according to the Bible. As long as the sun is in the sky, the moon is revolving. Next slide. Man, we made it to question and answer. So, y'all want to get food first and we just ask questions while we eat? Or y'all want to do the question and answer before we eat? Yeah.
You know they will eat.
Let's eat. We'll do the question and answer as we eat.